My husband is so immersed in his hobby of following a pop group that he neglects his family at home. He started to refrain from his hobbies after he had a big fight with me. Instead, he began going out excessively, leaving me feeling uneasy. One day during a meal, I collapsed, and our daughter sought help from her father. "Dad, help!"
"I'm busy now. Ask the neighbor."
He didn't even try to help. The next day, he casually asked,
"Is Mom okay?"
To him, our daughter cheerfully replied, "We are going to burn it."
Huh?
What was actually being burned was... My name is Amy Young, and I'm 32 years old. I work as a web engineer, currently working remotely. I've been married to my husband for 8 years. My husband and I have a 6-year-old daughter, Millie. We live in our family home, passed down from my grandparents. While it's old, the construction is solid, and there's a comforting warmth in the living room. Thanks to this warmth, the whole room feels cozy and nice. Timothy works a regular job, and we are a working couple. I work from home, juggling chores, childcare, and work. Millie is mature for her age, but still needs constant supervision. It's hard for me to do all the housework alone, so we should help each other out for an ideal life together. But the reality is that it doesn't work that way. Timothy has a hobby that he is passionate about. He's a devoted fan of a certain girl group. I didn't notice this hobby until we got married. Honestly, his enthusiasm knows no bounds. Timothy is obsessed with a girl group consisting of a middle school, high school, and college students. They're not very famous nationwide, but they're his favorites. A college student named Raylin seems to be Timothy's favorite. When there are local concerts, he sometimes stays overnight to support them.
"I have to support them because they are not nationally famous. They're definitely going to be big in the future. Until then, it's up to us fans to support them."
Timothy would passionately argue with me like that. Honestly, I was put off by his behavior. Certainly, everyone has their own hobbies, and it's not right to dismiss them outright. But for a man in his mid-30s to be obsessed with a teenage girl group? Frankly, it's disturbing. Still, I can't blame Timothy too much. Whenever we argue, he's quick to apologize. But oddly enough, he got really angry when I criticized his hobby in the past.
"What's disgusting about it? Supporting them is my one and only enjoyment. Not causing trouble for anyone or committing any crimes. We manage our household expenses properly, so don't complain about how I spend my spare money."
Timothy's arguments were so forceful that I had no choice but to apologize. Since then, I couldn't say anything about his hobby. He's truly terrifying when he's angry. Why does he get so obsessed like that? Especially when we have a daughter. Collecting photos of teenage girls, university students aside, seems creepy. I hated that Timothy continued to be a girl group fan, but I kept quiet about it. With a daughter, divorce wasn't an option. I was truly annoyed by his enthusiasm for the girl group, but I lightly dismissed it, thinking it would pass. His level of enthusiasm was extraordinary, but girl groups eventually lose their popularity. Timothy will wake up then. But then, an unexpected event occurred. While working from home, I received a call from Millie's kindergarten. Perplexed by the sudden call, I was shocked by what the teacher told me. Millie had accidentally fallen from the jungle gym while playing at the kindergarten and was taken to the hospital by ambulance. I rushed to the hospital where Millie lay on the bed, pale-faced. Despite my efforts to wake her up, she remained unconscious. I tried calling Timothy multiple times while he was out at the girl group concert, but couldn't reach him. Why isn't he here at such a crucial time? It's our daughter's emergency. I was frustrated, but there was no point in worrying about someone who wasn't there. According to the doctor, Millie had hit her head hard, and they would monitor her condition for a while. When the doctor explained that she might have suffered a head injury if she didn't regain consciousness, my blood ran cold. I stayed by Millie's side, not leaving for a moment. I desperately prayed, "Please, let my daughter wake up soon." The next morning, Millie finally opened her eyes. "Mom? Millie! Thank goodness." I couldn't stop the tears of relief. Right after that, Timothy called. I told him what happened and asked him to come to the hospital immediately, but he said something unbelievable.
"If Millie is awake, then she's fine, right?" Today is Raylan's graduation concert, you know. She's the one I've been supporting all this time, and today is her last concert.
I was speechless. Never did I imagine he would worry more about a pop star than our daughter, who was taken to the hospital. What? Are you serious right now? I found myself raising my voice at my husband. Which one is more important, Raylan or our daughter, Millie?
You can't choose between them, can you? Millie can come home anytime, but once Raylan graduates, I'll never see her again. I don't want to miss this chance.
Unbelievably, my husband prioritized the pop star. Frustrated, I ignored Timothy's excuses and hung up the phone. Right after discharge, I took my daughter and went straight to my parents' house. I can't take it anymore. Prioritizing a pop star over our daughter just because it's a hobby? I'm definitely going to leave him. I was serious about divorcing him and was making preparations. He must have regretted it because he came to my parents' house and apologized.
I'm sorry for the terrible behavior. I was planning to stop following them once the graduation concert was over. I got stubborn, thinking it was the last chance. From now on, I'll cherish you, Amy, and Millie.
I couldn't trust him, but my parents suggested.
Since you have a daughter, why not forgive him this time?
Well, he does genuinely care about Millie on a daily basis. He didn't cheat, and I resisted the idea of leaving Millie with a single parent. I hesitated, but chose to return home with Millie. But that was a big mistake. Afterward, he stopped following the girl group. Instead, he started coming home late, saying he was busy with work. And he began using excuses like working on weekends to go out. I couldn't get angry if he said it was for work, but it seemed suspicious. I wonder if it is so easy to stop chasing a girl group that you were so passionate about. There are other concerns. When Millie was rushed to the hospital, he was completely unreliable. If either my daughter or I were to get sick, would he help this time? Although he says he's reflecting, I still can't fully trust him. Thinking about the future made me quite anxious. So one day, I decided to take a bold step. On that day, he said he had to work on weekends and left early in the morning. Despite claiming to be working, he seemed unusually cheerful. After he left, Millie and I were having breakfast together. Suddenly, I clutched my stomach and collapsed. Millie was startled by the suddenness and started panicking, calling out to me. "Mom, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Anxiously, I pleaded for help from Millie without pause. "I'm having some stomach pains. Could you call Daddy, Millie?" I dialed Timothy from my phone and handed it to Millie. I put the call on speakerphone. "Dad, are you there? Dad!"
Millie, what's going on? I'm working right now.
"Dad, help! Mom collapsed because her stomach hurts." Millie desperately sought help from Timothy, but his response was terribly cold.
Huh? I'm busy right now.
"But Mom looks really in pain."
She's a grown-up. She'll manage a stomach ache. If you really need help, ask the neighbor. I'm hanging up because of work.
Timothy said and hung up the phone. Millie welled up in tears at her father's cold response. His statement of caring for me and Millie turned out to be a lie after all. I muttered, "That liar," and stood up abruptly. Millie looked at me wide-eyed in disbelief. "Mom, are you okay? Your stomach hurts, doesn't it?" "I'm sorry, Millie. Mom is fine now. But Daddy might not be okay." "Huh?" Actually, I was perfectly fine and healthy. I pretended to be unwell to see if Timothy would come to help in an emergency. I ended up inadvertently worrying Millie with this charade, but it provided the answer I needed. We couldn't continue like this as a couple. If something were to happen to either Millie or me, he'd prioritize his own convenience. It was time to part ways. I began packing my things to leave. While packing, I noticed a receipt in the living room trash can. It was a receipt for a woman's branded bag, one that I certainly didn't purchase, and Timothy didn't give to Millie either. Seeing that receipt filled me with a sense of dread. After finishing packing, I decided to investigate Timothy. I went into his room and searched his pockets and computer. And then I discovered something shocking. Anger surged through me as I realized the truth about Timothy. Unbelievable. That traitor! I'll never forgive him. I've decided to thoroughly drag Timothy straight to hell. The next day, Timothy called. I had something I needed to do and simply didn't want to talk to him, so I had Millie take the call.
Hey, it's me.
Timothy sounded strangely amused, his voice tinged with laughter. Perhaps he thought my collapsing from stomach pain wasn't a big deal. Though I didn't expect much, I was disappointed by his lack of concern for me.
Millie? Is Mom okay?
Millie responded cheerfully to Timothy's question. We're going to burn it.
Huh? Burn what?
Timothy seemed perplexed by Millie's response. Before Millie could reply, I snatched the phone and hung up. I thought explaining the situation to him would be a waste of time. He quickly returned home, apparently concerned about Millie's statement. Seeing me in front of the fireplace, he exaggeratedly sighed.
What? Amy, you're alive. I worry for nothing.
Huh? What does that mean?
Well, because Millie said we're going to burn it. I thought something had happened to you, Amy. Why would Millie tell such a lie?
Timothy casually remarked. I refuted his words, saying Millie wasn't lying. Actually, we are burning something. Your precious items right here in this fireplace.
Huh?
Timothy looked puzzled and glanced at the fireplace. Then he suddenly screamed. As it turns out, what I was burning was Timothy's belongings. I had been burning his cherished collection of girl group photos and autographed items. As Timothy watched his carefully gathered collection go up in flames, his face turned pale. Then he turned red with anger and started to confront me.
What have you done? Do you have any idea how much effort it took to collect these?
Even though Timothy blamed me, I felt nothing. Instead, I looked back at him with frosty eyes. It's fine. I have saved all the evidence of your affairs, photos, receipts for extravagant gifts to your mistress, and lovey-dovey emails. As soon as he heard that, Timothy's complexion turned pale. Yes, Timothy was indeed cheating. And his mistress was none other than Raylan, the girl group member he adored. She was the cause of many of our past arguments. Raylan had just graduated from university and was struggling to find a job. So, using his fan status, Timothy approached her and got her a job at his company. Soon they began an affair, and Timothy emptied all his savings for her. When I checked with his company, they reported that Timothy wasn't working overtime and always left on time. Of course, he wasn't doing any extra work on weekends either. Emails left on his computer indicated that he was often at Raylan's apartment. With the evidence against him, Timothy had no escape and began to cry.
What else could I do? Raylan was in trouble and relied on me. Plus, she says she loved me the most. It's only natural for a man to want to devote himself to the woman he loves.
His desperate words left me speechless. Was this what a 30-year-old man thought? Are you an idiot? Raylan is 10 years younger than you. Aren't you ashamed to be involved with such a young girl?
Yes, there's an age difference, but it doesn't matter in our love. We are meant to be together. I will dedicate my entire life to Raylan.
Timothy's desperate words made me burst into laughter. His love for Raylan might be genuine, but Raylan herself likely didn't share the same feelings. Even if you intend that, the other person might not feel the same. That girl was ridiculing you on social media. In fact, I had been curious about what kind of girl group Timothy was so passionate about, so I decided to investigate, and I found Raylan's social media. She was bad-mouthing Timothy behind his back. I'm dating this old dude because he gives me loads of cash, but I'm getting sick of it. It's risky if he finds out. How should I dump him? I don't want him to become a stalker. Seeing the comments on social media that I showed him, Timothy was shocked.
How could Raylan?
He miserably broke down in tears on the spot. Seeing his pitiful state, I felt a headache coming on. Why did I ever marry such an idiot? If it had come to this, I should have just divorced you when Millie was hospitalized. Before I knew it, I found myself saying this to him. I can't continue being married to you anymore. Leave this house right now. Let's settle the alimony and child support through lawyers. Don't ever come near me and Millie again. I hope you find happiness with Raylin. With those words, Timothy's cries became even louder. But it's his own fault, so I have no sympathy for him. I glared at Timothy, who continued to cry and left him behind. I asked you to help, Mom. You're awful, Dad. I hate you so much. Timothy's cries grew louder at Millie's words. Later, Timothy and I divorced. I demanded alimony and child support through a lawyer. Timothy, who had no savings, borrowed money and paid them off. He had no savings because he had been spending money on the girl group all along. On top of that, he had been slacking off at work and eventually he got fired. I heard Timothy is now being exploited in a dangerous job to pay off his debts. I also demanded alimony from Raylin, his affair partner. Perhaps not wanting to be sued, she paid it off from her own savings. It seems she couldn't bear the judgmental looks from those around her after her affair with Timothy was exposed, so she eventually resigned from the company. No one knows where she is now. Meanwhile, I decided to rent out the home I inherited from my grandparents and use that money for Millie's future education. I am still living peacefully with Millie in my childhood home. Millie is also adored by my parents and seems to have more smiles on her face. From now on, I would like to do my best for Millie as a single mother. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video!